Come on in and sit down. You cut the hardcore crew chewing the fat. You cut us shooting the shit. You cut us in the moment.
Moving on, as we are in the moment, guys. Like I said, I was talking about Jerry Jarrett and how he was thought about getting back into wrestling. And let me give my thoughts. You know, he really brought TNA up to what it was before Dixie Carter decided to take over and put it in the shitter. Jeff Jarrett has a good mind. And as Lance said, he does have a very big ego, which sometimes is more damaging than good. I think Jerry Jarrett, if Jeff listens to his father Jerry, I believe that Global Force Wrestling can not only get great things, but they can probably even get a television contract somewhere down the near future. Well, let's move along, guys. I was watching Bobby Lashley on some sports station, where he was talking about the MMA. Now, one thing I kind of noticed is that they were talking about Bobby Lashley, MMA fighter for Bellator. Never mentioned anything about TNA. So, that shows, again, another big fault that TNA is just not advertising properly. One thing that I did find interesting about his interview, he was talking about his thoughts about CM Punk going to MMA, and this is what he said. I'm paraphrasing here. He said, his first piece of advice is not to let anyone put Punk in a situation he's not ready for. He said that Punk is, he gave Punk all the props. He goes, I like Punk. He's a nice guy. I got no issues with him. He goes, but if he's going to get into the wrestling, he's got to fight with somebody who's 0-0. He can't if he puts him up against a skilled fighter, he's going to go down. And he goes, and it's not saying anything bad about him, but that's just a hard fact. Andy, what did you think about Bobby Lashley's statement?
The only problem with the statement is any fan on the planet wants to see CM Punk get it on with somebody that's known in wrestling. Is it really going to be a draw if he's fighting Uncle Buck from the trailer park?
Hey, now, don't be talking about my Uncle Buck.
I'd be more excited about him fighting a has-been, but a name that I know, than he's fighting, like I say, Uncle Buck from the trailer park, because...
Damn it, I told you not to talk about my uncle.
We want to see just, is he up for it or not? We can all talk the talk. I mean, I can go in UFC as long as I can pick my opponent.
Well, and you made a very valid point there. I mean, you said that, you want to see Punk fight against a skilled fighter, against a big name, or even a has-been, but the point, though, is if Punk fights against a nobody, he's going to be the star of the show. Obviously, I don't think that Dana White is going to move him up the ladder. Yeah, and give him a really hard, skilled fight.
But you know what I really think about the old CM Punk, Dana White, and UFC?
What's that?
Blowing smoke up everybody's arse. Dana White, I've seen the interviews, and to my knowledge, being a follower of UFC, Dana White has never signed a contract with anybody and said to them categorically, take as long as you like. If it takes 5 years to get you ready, not a problem. Take as long as you like. That's bollocks. That's all blowing smoke up everybody's arse. He signed Brock Lesnar, and within 6 weeks he was in the fucking circle having a fight.
Yeah, but keep in mind, Brock Lesnar has skills as he was a fighter. He was a wrestler. He won championships before he even went into pro wrestling.
Yeah, but when you think about it though, if you're a promoter of UFC, for a day, you're Dana White, are you going to say to CM Punk, right then, you can come and work for me, let's sign the contract now, and you can fight whenever you feel like. If it's 5 years, it doesn't really matter. No, I'd say if I was Dana White, come back to me when you're ready to fight, and we'll discuss it. I've never known any businessman sign a contract with somebody that isn't even prepared to even work for you yet.
Well, it's not like the WWE where he signs them for like years and says, okay, I'm going to pay you X amount of years. He's paying for a multi-fight contract where he gets paid per fight. So whether he takes 6 months or 6 years, I'm sure that that's not the case. That's supposedly fighting sometime middle of next year or early next year, but again, that's got pushed back.
Yeah, because he got hurt or something.
But that's the thing, and that's a valid point that you made, Lance. Punk got injured while training, never mind fighting, Lance. How do you think that's going to affect him in fighting?
Well, if they give him time to heal, I've seen interviews with Punk where he does nothing half-assed. So if they give him proper enough to heal and train, I think he could whoop some people in his weight class.
Well, it's I have to admit, as a Punk fan, I am interested to see that first fight, and I think that's definitely going to be like a measuring stick of where he's going to go. Even as he moves up the line, you're going to wonder before he finally says, you know what, I can't deal with this, I'm done. And where he goes from there, you never know. He says he's never going to go back to the WWE.
Depends on how tight the money gets.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's going to be bullshit. I think if he does go back, he's going to go back under a Legends contract where he's going to go as a part-time wrestler, nothing less, nothing more. And that's just my thoughts. I want to move on to another topic, which we've been doing our Raw review over the past couple of weeks, and Raw has been anything but impressive. Would we all agree on that?
Well, last night was better than the previous weeks, but it still wasn't that good.
I would rather watch TNA, to be perfectly honest, and that's pushing the barrel a bit.
Yeah, well, the product's better. The management just sucks.
And, even NXT has been shown to be a lot better. They're getting a bigger following. I looked at the ratings for last night, and last night we all, some of us said, hey, it was a better show than it usually is, but the ratings have been down. They dropped. There was only 3.2 million viewers, and that's from, and it was down from last week's, which only had not that many. Let's see, the overall ratings was 2.3, down from, and it says down from last week's 2.46, which I'm reading that and it doesn't make sense. It should be backwards. It says the ratings are down, but from what it looks like, the ratings are up.
The only trouble with ratings, they don't mean jack shit anymore, because how many people DVR it? I know thousands of people DVR it in the UK and watch it the following day, and that doesn't class as a watch.
I thought it did.
No, because it's a live. The actual system, if you look on the data system on the internet, the system monitors the TV watching the program at the time that the program's broadcast. So if you watch a recording later, it's not monitoring. It's in the UK. It'll monitor between 1 and 4 a.m. If it doesn't sense that the TV's channel box is on that channel watching it between 1 and 4, it doesn't register as a watch. And the thing is, who now has the boxes? Because there was a time, if you were, in the UK anyway, if you were one of these people that they used to do the surveys with, you used to get your box for free, because inside your box is basically a decoder which sends all the information of all the channels you watch to the companies that come up with the statistics. Who are the people that they sorting the boxes out to? Because I assume it's mostly the Americans that they're judging on the market there. Who are the people who've got the boxes, and are they really wrestling fans? Because they might have taken or stopped all the older boxes, got new customers, and they probably like watching Home and Away and Seinfeld. They might not even be wrestling fans, so they'll never actually ever go on the wrestling channel. So really, how the statistics work now, they suck.
Alright, and like I said, that was just quick food for thought. I want to move on to another topic, and Andy, I know you're going to have a lot to rant about this. Ryback was in a recent interview, and according to Sports Kings, Ryback appeared and said that he should be the next John Cena. He should be the next big thing. And again, this is what he said. I told Vince, I'm here for the long haul. I want to be my absolute best, and the best is going up and pretty damn good. At the end of this, but the key is that I'm staying healthy, and the longevity is here. People are going to take themselves out. People are going to get injured, and opportunities are going to open. I've said from day one, I told Vince to his face, I'm the guy that can replace John Cena. And I'm not John Cena, I'm Ryback. Andy, I'm going to give it to you because I know how you feel about Ryback. Do you even think he has the opportunity to even step in John Cena's shoes?
He couldn't even pick John Cena's turd out the toilet bowl. the guy is just... He's got no personality, he's got no charisma, his mic skills are useless, he hasn't improved in any way, shape or form. He's always going to be known as a Goldberg rip-off, unless he does something with his... if he grew some hair, if he can, I don't know if he's bald naturally or what, but if he did something to make himself look a bit different than Goldberg, people might take him serious, but to me, he's as farcical as a wrestler as Gilberg was, for those of you old enough to know Gilberg was.
And for those of you who don't know who Gillberg is, Gillberg was WWE's parody version of Goldberg, who was in the WCW during the Monday Night Wars. The guy was a small frame guy. But Lance, let me ask you, okay, now, again, you pretty much have the same feeling about Ryback as Andy does, and we all do. We all feel that Ryback just doesn't have it. Do you feel there's any way he can turn that around?
I want to be able to put this in more words, but no.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
Well, he's too jacked up. He stole Rob Van Dam's tights, but I don't see any other way to repackage him.
And you know what? There have been a lot of wrestlers who've been repackaged and, been able to turn things around. Stone Cold Steve Austin, obviously, a big legend. He was able to turn it around. If you remember Rock, when he came down as Rocky Maivia, he was a big joke, and then he was able to turn around and become, The Rock. Triple H.
Let's remember one thing. Ryback is a repackage. From whatever his name was in the NXT show, in the NXT game show.
This is true. They did have to change him around. But again, who's to say he can't be repackaged for a third time? It has happened. It's not the first time. Now, look at Husky Harris, who is now Bray Wyatt. And we saw last night, Bray Wyatt really turned the heat up. He really showed that he could possibly be the next Undertaker. He could be the next big thing as far as where the Undertaker was. While we're on that subject, Andy, do you think that Wyatt has that possibility?
Personally, no. Not at all.
I'll admit I was never a big fan of Bray Wyatt's promos. I thought that his gimmick was selling very well because it was more of a Charlie Manson gimmick than any other gimmick that I've really seen, which is very original. His promos got very dry, but last night's promo, I have to say, I was really impressed. And for the first time, I was really over on Bray Wyatt. And I think it shows that he can do it if he wants to, and if he continues on the trail that he is on right now, he can certainly be a big thing later on in the company. Lance, Jim Ross pretty much stated in one of his promos that the whole thing with the Undertaker is being lost because they didn't give a chance to have anybody run out and have the younger guys push, get that push that they truly needed. But I think that, honestly, as much as I respect Jim Ross, he's missing that one thing. The younger guys were in the ring. They were the heels. The Wyatt family, all of them are the next generation wrestlers. Would you agree with that or disagree?
I'd agree 100%. I think the Wyatt family is the PG version and done very well, a PG version of the Ministry. Yeah, they can't go as far as the Ministry did, but that was in the Attitude Era. This is the PG era, which they've gone sort of kind of far, and they're starting to actually add in supernatural camera tricks and stuff like that, which I like.
Andy, you know what? I want to ask you, because Lance brought up an interesting point that they try to do like a new Ministry type thing. Now, they carried out The Undertaker. Do you think it would have helped them if they had the Druids come out and carry out The Undertaker and say, I now control the Druids?
My personal opinion is, no matter what way they did it, they should have shown Kane and The Undertaker in some kind of captive situation, in a cave, in a hut, tied up, to carry the gimmick on, because we all know now that The Undertaker's sitting there in his living room with his feet up, drinking his Coca-Cola, and his sexy wife on his lap, laughing at the old storyline. It's just not believable because we can't see The Undertaker and Kane. To me,
I'd almost say it would work if they would have had them in a tomb or something.
Yeah, it's just a farce of a gimmick, because if you're boasting that I've got The Undertaker in captivity, for God's sake, show him, because it's not believable otherwise. I mean,
he didn't say he had the Undertaker in captivity. He said that he took the Undertaker and Kane's soul. Where they are, I think I like that because it has a little bit more of an imagination, and I think if it showed them that they were in a cage or tied up or whatever, it would make them look even more weak than I hate to say the Undertaker has been looking over the past couple of years. So I think it was done the right way. That's my personal opinion.
What would be the point though of being this creepy? I don't know what the word is, but these creepy villagers carry. So what we're supposed to believe? They carried the Undertaker out of the ring, up the ramp, behind the curtain, and sat him down on his chair, took his soul, and then walked away? Because wouldn't the Undertaker come out if they'd let him go, if they'd supposedly taken his soul and let him go? Wouldn't the Undertaker come out and say what a crock of shit is, and I'll fight you to prove it, or
I think
show
that's
his face? But either way, I just think the WWE have cocked the story up again, because they're very good at that. They create a good storyline, and for the want of a better term, fuck it up within 2 weeks.
I think in 3 weeks, the Survivor Series is coming up, and we're going to see the Undertaker. Obviously, there's going to be the return of the Undertaker because he's on the cover.
Yeah.
So, again, if you ask me, I think this could be Undertaker's swan song, and I really think he needs to retire. What the actual storyline is for Survivor Series is unknown. Whether it's going to be a tag team match of the Brothers of Destruction versus two of the Wyatts, or if it's going to be like a 5-on-5, we have no idea. I want to move on to another subject. Over the past couple of weeks, we've known that Randy Orton has been injured. WWE did confirm that his shoulder injury is a little bit more severe than they expected. He's going to be out 4 to 6 months. Now, Randy Orton was one of the bigger guys of the company. Some could say he's winding down his career, but I still think he has a few more years than John Cena does. And I still think someone like him really needs to be in the roster, and they're losing a lot of baby faces. Cena's gone for a while. Now Randy Orton's gone for a while. We also know that Daniel Bryan's on the shelf, may never come back. How do you think what's going to happen, Andy? Do you think this is going to help push a lot of the younger guys, or is it just going to hurt the business as a whole?
I don't really think they should be bringing older people back to push any of the, whether it's tag team, divas, the normal singles wrestlers. They need the new wrestlers to prove themselves. They don't need babysitting, and Vince or the writing team seem to think that all the wrestlers need babysitting, and they don't. They need to prove themselves on their own.
I totally agree with you. And here's another thing that and I want to bring this go right to that subject, is WWE wants to bring back Tatanka, and he's a legend. They want to give him a Legends contract. At WrestleMania, there's supposed to be more legends than anybody else. Another rumor is they're going to be bringing back the Hardys. Again, legends. It just seems that the WWE can't get away from the nostalgia. Lance, what's your thoughts about all this?
Vince will not get it in his damn head that, yes, fans pop when they see a legend like Flair, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, but the ratings, that don't help. That does not keep the damn ratings up. That works for one time, that one show, then the ratings go right back down the crapper. It's like Vince doesn't, like I've said it 1,000 times before, Vince has never known what was hip until past the new generation era. Then after that, Triple H and Shawn Michaels were telling him, like during the Attitude Era, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Shawn up until he left because of his certain addictions, but they were telling him, yeah, this is a good idea, this will get kids watching this and that. But past that, now Vince just thinks, oh, ratings down, oh, better call the legends. That don't work anymore.
No, it doesn't. And actually, a couple of weeks ago, when they had people come out like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Ric Flair, they had the Dudleys on, they had the Undertaker, they had Brock Lesnar, and they thought that it was going to boost ratings, and the ratings went down. And again, people really need to understand. I think this is more Vince as opposed to Stephanie and Triple H. He just needs to get out of his head that the legends aren't doing it anymore, because a lot of the younger kids who pretty much with the targeting don't even know who these guys were. They weren't even born before they retired, let alone.
Exactly. Like, remember the last time Hulk Hogan made his debut back right after he left TNA? Mm-hmm. Remember how many kids looked at Hulk Hogan like, who the hell is this old guy coming down the ring? And why is he in red and yellow, calling everybody brother?
Yeah. And the same thing with Sting. The older fans marked up, but the younger kids are like, they just saw him as a guy with face paint on, just another wrestler. You had to go online, and unless if you watch him on YouTube, you didn't know who he was. Unless if you were a big TNA fan, again, which a lot of WWE fans did not know who he was. You know what, guys? We're going to wrap up this edition, but I want you, the listeners, I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the Legends coming back? What do you think about Ryback saying he's the next John Cena? Is that a possibility? Or is he totally full of his own shit? Please, put those comments in the comments section below. Make sure you follow us over in our chat room in the group section, HWR chat room. Hit that subscribe button in the upper right-hand corner. And please, just put a comment, share this video, and, we take any kind of comments, the positive and the negative. If you got something shit to say to us, by all means, say it, because we can take the heat. I'd like to thank my partner, my sidekick, Andy, for coming on the show. And yes, folks, he does see dead people. Andy, what do you got coming up?
Yeah, you can find me at www.stokehaunted.com. I've just posted 4 videos from Saturday's investigation if you want to check that out. And my next investigation is on the 14th of November for those that follow me around, like ghosties do.
And we have the incomparable Lance Moss, and he's over at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what do you got going on?
I got album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, redneck gourmet cooking videos, musical equipment reviews, some rants, and every Wednesday night at 7 Central, 8 Eastern, like I always say, whatever the hell time it is on the East Coast, on the West Coast, because I just straight up don't know. Somebody might want to tell me sometime. Anyway, yeah, and I never know who's going to show up. And subscribe if you hadn't. And hit us on Twitter, it's @LanceMossTV. Rick, is your mic on again?
Of course it's not. So, for the hardcore crew, I want to thank everybody. I want to say I am your host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you. And when I got my fucking mic fixed.
Thank you for listening to this edition of In the Moment. Make sure you follow us at any one of our locations, whether it's YouTube, Dailymotion, and now SoundCloud.com under the name HWR Show. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.